in this Alekhine game in our series, we're going to explore one of my favorite quick errors in the classical, we'll say the Carlsen main line. Knight takes e5 is the most frequently occurring move. But very often, I'll face d takes e5. And for the longest time before I wrote my Alekhine text on Chessable, I was just playing c6, bishop f5, or bishop g4, and just finishing development like you would in a center counter or a Caro-Kann. But then when I started researching the position, I found that far more accurate is to play knight c6 and immediately start pressuring the e-pawn. So when you follow up with a move like bishop g4, we're threatening to remove a guard and we're already putting work in the position. Oh, my opponent had a knee-jerk reaction here to go, oh goodness, oh yes, I can trade queens. And they get so excited about this, but white's already extended the pawn structure. There's a weakness on e5. There's now a big threat of knight c2 to take away castling. Excuse me. That one got me good. There was something in there. Had to clear the mechanism. So he's got to defend c2. Knight a3. Pressure on the e-pawn. How do we continue the pressure? Bishop g4. Well, quick calculation here. Bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3, knight takes e5, bishop takes b7. Not a big fan of giving up my bishop pair only to trade. So e6. Looking to get our last piece out. Now on rook d1. Where's the better place for the king and why? Well, in this case, king c8. Because the aforementioned line where we could take on e5, the b7 pawn was hanging. Now if we take on f3, we no longer have that issue. And on bishop d2, very straightforward. And after knight b5, I definitely should take on f3 immediately, but I went with a6 first and then took. Always do the more forcing moves immediately. Now, the biggest problem I have in the position is my rook on a8, but I want to defend key squares. So I first go rook d8. Now my knight is fully supported by the rook, placing pressure on that target on b2. After the b-pawn is moved, the defender of the knight on c3, it has one less defender, or one guard. So simply improve. Now continue improving the position. Need to finish development. So it'd be easy to play a move like b6. But I wanted to keep the king close to the action. Nice little wait and see move. Rook d7. Now knight e4. How can we be most threatening here? Or what is the best way to handle this dynamic in the position? Knight e5. So now there are multiple targets. So you got to be really vigilant here. Bishop f4. We will take all the pawns. And then knight d4, shutting down the rook. Simply dropping back. And where are the targets? There aren't any. Go away. Now, I don't want to get in a situation to where I can't move the knight. Knight f5. He's down material, so understandably he's trying to keep complications. And in the meantime, finally starting to get some momentum. Rook d3. And on move 30, we are finally getting our final piece into the game. So kind of playing an entire game with a hand tied behind your back. C5. Don't be in too much of a hurry to change the pawn structure here. Look for more targets. Well, I decided to prevent him taking, and in the meantime, make a little threat. And since we're up material, quite a bit of material, trading down is definitely a way to go. And this next one's a bit of a cheeky move, if you will. F6. Because why not? If he takes a bunch on D1, I have knight E3 check. And on king H3. Rook D3. Everything's held nicely together. Misses this idea. And the game doesn't go too much longer here, as I'm looking to be clinical, shutting down this bishop, kicking away the knight so I have more access to key squares with my rook. Nothing is free. The X-ray here, very satisfying mate on the board. So one of the things that I really like about the Alekhine in general is that compared to, say, the big four, the King Pawn, Sicilian, French, and Caro-Kann, the sidelines, there's quite a few reputable sidelines that you really need to know what you're doing with black to get equality and then try to fight for a win. A lot of the sidelines in the Alekhine, you're just worse immediately with white if you misstep. So you are taking risks by playing the Alekhine, but if you can learn the structures, the surprise value, along with if anyone tries to avoid the main lines, they get in trouble. I really like it. That's why I play it.